What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman, board of 32 members, are clarifying everything as it states right now, okay? The state that the sport of boxing is in and these careers of these fighters and where they're going from right now, right? Mauricio Sulaiman is now doing interviews and he's clarifying everything, okay? So everybody get a clear understanding of what's taking place. And Mauricio Sulaiman has now come out and he has confirmed, as I told you guys, I felt like the contract has ran its course. He stated that they attempted to do the rematch. They was under the impression the rematch was going to take place between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And now he's stating that the rematch is not taking place and that they are waiting for Terence Crawford to make a decision very soon and give them an update of what he's going to do next because they need to take plan of action, okay? Which means that I told you guys the WBA interim champion at the welterweight division is Mario Barrios, and he'll be elevated to super champion should Terence Crawford, or he's going to have to fight for the vacant WBC title, but he'll get first dibs at it. And Terence Crawford and Errol Spence rematch is not taking place. It's truly unfortunate for Errol Spence in this situation because Errol Spence did go above and beyond to make this fight happen with Terence Crawford. It was the fight the world wanted to see. It took place July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. The fight was one-sided. It wasn't as competitive as many people, including myself, expected it to be. I expected it to be in a very competitive fight. It was anything but that, okay? Errol Spence got dominated. He got dropped in the second round, twice in the seventh round, then stopped in the ninth round, right? And he suffered some injuries. That car accident, October of 2019, completely derailed Errol Spence's career. It completely derailed it because he has been dealing with injuries outside of the sport of boxing since suffering that horrific car accident after unifying the belts against Sean Porter September of 2019. In October 2019, he suffered that horrific car accident, and Errol Spence has been dealing with all types of injuries outside the sport of boxing, right? It completely derailed his career, but he was able, like he said, to feed his family, and he's still one of the best fighters in the world, and he's still saying that he wants to, continue his journey and his career in the sport of boxing. He just, is having a hard time getting back on track. He stated before the Yordenis Ugas fight, which took place April 16th, 2022, that he was suffering still from cataracts that was hindering his vision going into the fight. And now it was still hindering him going into the Crawford fight. Now, he used that as a reason why he stated, why you think I got hit with so many hooks and jabs from Terence Crawford, because I couldn't see him. Then he was suffering from a broken rib that didn't allow him to spar and properly prepare 30 days, he said, from the fight. Then he didn't get approved for the pain injections for the broken ribs until a week of the fight. And he was depleted. He was weight drained. He'd been saying he wanted to move up to 154. So it's unfortunate that Errol Spence has given us the fans, what they want. You understand? Errol Spence has done what the fans have wanted from a boxer, okay? The only thing Errol Spence didn't do for himself was live a fighter's lifestyle in between fights. He's now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He's 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. I believe, like Errol Spence said, he's not retiring. He says that he's going to obviously move up to 154. And we have to see how he bounces back, right? In the case of Terence Crawford is a 3-division champion, undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, and is still the unified unified welterweight world champion, and he's widely acknowledged as the #1 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Terence Crawford has a record of 40 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He's 36 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Terence Crawford just got his big opportunity. Now, he did get the Kell Brook fight, but that was late in his tooth. He got the Sean Porter fight late in the tooth, right? He got the Errol Spence fight. That was the marquee fight. And that fight catapulted Terence Crawford to where he's always wanted to be, the acknowledgement he's always wanted and should have been receiving. But he's 36. He'll be 37 in September. Everybody's saying that Terence Crawford is avoiding and ducking newly crowned IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, the phenom, as I refer to him as, in Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Ennis is 31 wins, no losses, no draw, 28 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. Terence Crawford is not avoiding Jaron Boots Ennis. He's not. Okay. Yes, it's the fight that we want to see. It's a fight that makes sense for us, the fans, right? Because we know Jaron Ennis is 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach, same arm length. Terence Crawford has extremely long arms. Boots Ennis has equally as long arms. Jaron Ennis has the ability to switch from southpaw to orthodox. Terence Crawford does as well, as though Terence Crawford is predominantly a southpaw today's time. When he was younger, he did a lot of more switching. Today's time, he's more south. He's 90% southpaw and 10% orthodox. Jaron Ennis is still 50-50, right? Even though he's starting to teeter off into that southpaw stance more and more often, right? Because it gives you an advantage in the angles. And so many people are saying that he's ducking Jaron Ennis. He's not. He'll be 37 years of age, and he has one marquee major payday. So he's saying, if you're going to pay me, as this is a marquee fight, like Errol Spence or any one of those other fights, if you're going to acknowledge me, like you paid Gervonta Tank Davis to fight Hector Garcia, or you paid Gervonta Tank Davis to fight Rolly Romero, you're going to pay me like you paid Gervonta Tank Davis to fight Ryan Garcia, then I'll fight Jaron Boots Ennis. Because my opportunities are dwindling, going on 37 years of age. It's unfortunate for Jaron Ennis. He came a generation behind Terence Crawford. He was the mandatory challenger, and he chose to go the route of the IBF, International Boxing Federation, better known as the IBF, with President Mr. Darryl Peebles, instead of going the WBO route, the World Boxing Organization, and being the mandatory for Terence Crawford. He chose the route of Errol Spence, which was, he bet on Errol Spence and he came up short. Why? Because Errol Spence had 3 belts. He was the bigger star than Terence Crawford, and he was a more marquee fight. He had the money, came along with Errol Spence, as well as the belts, as well as the name and the popularity, right? So Errol Spence is with the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman, who had a partnership and agreement with Showtime President of Sports, Steven Espinosa, right? Showtime decided to get out this business of the sport of boxing after 37 years. His manager, Cameron Duncan, transitioned, and he went the IBF route, and Errol Spence lost. You bet on your umbrella. You bet on Errol Spence winning. You bet on being with Showtime and PBC, and it all crumbled. And now Errol Spence lost. Terence Crawford inherited Jaron Ennis as his mandatory because he beat Errol Spence. But they were supposed to have an immediate rematch that they were negotiating. And then that fell through. But Terence Crawford is saying, okay, I had this marquee fight now. I need to have marquee money and acknowledgement moving forward. If I'm going to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, pay me like I'm fighting a marquee fight. The problem is, Terence Crawford is not signed with the PBC, nor is Jaron Ennis. So where's that money going to come from? Because now Al Heyman had to go sign with Amazon Prime, who reportedly doesn't have a budget for them. So how was he ducking Jaron Ennis? And also Showtime, Steven Espinosa did not want to make the Jaron Ennis-Terence Crawford fight when myself and BLK Prime tried to make the fight with Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis, because their best interest at heart was Errol Spence and Terence Crawford at the time. And Steven Espinosa said they had no dates. He said that, they had to be in control. They wanted to make sure that they wanted to control Terence Crawford because their vested interest was Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, not Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis. That would have been cutting their nose off to spite their face because what? Errol Spence wanted to fight and they didn't want to have a rocky relationship now with Al Heyman. Imagine Steven Espinosa making a fight with Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis opposed to making a big fight that Errol Spence wants with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. They didn't want to make the fight. So Steven Espinosa said they had no dates. I'm telling you guys the truth. They had no dates. They didn't know when they could make the fight. He was dragging his feet. Didn't want to make the fight. Period. So then Terence Crawford and Errol Spence happened. And the results is the results. So Jaron Ennis bet on that side and he came up short. And now Terence Crawford is in a position where he's trying to land a mega marquee fight, a life-changing fight with Canelo Alvarez, a 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer who is widely acknowledged as the face of the sport of boxing and is the undisputed super middleweight champion. And his team is actually acknowledging a fight with Terence Crawford. So why would he choose to fight Jaron Ennis, not get paid like he should, stay at 147? That's meaningless to convince Canelo Alvarez, who's saying, if I just fought and beat Jermell Charlo and didn't get credit, why would I get credit for fighting Terence Crawford? But Eddie Reynoso, his 2-time trainer of the year, well-renowned trainer, future Hall of Famer, and manager of Canelo Alvarez is saying, well, we can go into this fight with Terence Crawford. Why not fight Terence Crawford? We fought Floyd Mayweather. So it's a possibility. So if you Terence Crawford, you're going to take the risk of fighting Jaron Ennis and staying at 147. It has to be compensated for it. And they don't want to pay him, period. They're not going to pay him for that fight like it's a marquee fight. Gervonta Tank Davis got paid for a fight with Hector Garcia. Rolly Romero paid Terence Crawford to fight bouts Ennis, period. What's next for Errol Spence? He says that Tim Tszyu says that he had conversations for Errol Spence fight. So he can pretty much confirm that. And that he stated that whether it's Terence Crawford or Tim Tszyu or Errol Spence, he's fighting Keith Thurman March 30th. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But there is no rematch. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.